The first page of this chapter, Par,
Mm-hmm.
Borsalino. He says,
Yeah.
that explains how you missed it. You really should have checked every nook and cranny of the lab when you moved in. You know, I could be reading too deep into it, but it sounds like Borsalino is looking out for Vegapunk. He says, brother, why'd you get caught? Like, you're telling me you didn't check your corners? Like, it seems like Kizaru is low-key looking out for Vegapunk.
That context of that is actually important. I was looking at it from a different side, right? Like we were memeing on Vegapunk, like, yo, how does he not know that they're listening? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
surely after year, like he literally had Punk Hazard, right? He had everything going on there. He didn't know that they were spying on him. So like on two ends, it's a big question of like wait a second, Vegapunk did Vegapunk do this knowing that the Gorosei would hear in? But then the other side is also important because the guy who's letting him know is like Kizaru, and he's like, man, you got to be more careful in the future, right? And that's another interesting route too, um because we know that Vegapunk heeded those warnings because for what 2 months 3 months ish the cipher pole and the Gorosei couldn't figure out if they were researching poneglyphs or what was going on the island, right? So like
Yeah.
so the advice is definitely heard and listened to. The question is, I guess now that you asked it, is like, is there a world where Kizaru helped manage that? Like them escaping like the surveillance, oh, Cypher CP5 is on its way, right? Like as simple as that, right? That's kind
Yeah.
of helpful. That'd be pretty. I don't know.
Yeah, like, yeah, I could see that. Like, Kizaru calling up Vegapunk saying, hey, you're getting inspected pretty soon, buddy. You gotta, like, hide all your research if you're doing something shady. If you have
Yeah,
another backroom deal with the pirate, make sure to clean that up a little bit. From the way he's wording the first parts of this chapter, it does sound like he cares about Vegapunk to that extent, though.
yeah, yeah.
Because
And
at
this
this
is
point, he is a Navy admiral. He's not just like bumbling guy. He's not like a captain, a commodore, a vice admiral. He's an admiral telling him, hey, you really should have checked your corners, man. Come on.
yeah,
It's like a friend.
and another great point too is I'm realizing now more than anything is like we may not get like a Vegapunk flashback, but we will learn so much more about Vegapunk from Kizaru because like this all the flashbacks have been dancing around that like gate that time period of like Mads to Navy, and in between that was Kizaru, because when they found Sentomaru as a kid, it was Kizaru and Vegapunk, right?
Yeah.
And they already have Sentomaru here, obviously this timeline, right? So that like Kizaru and Vegapunk have a long, long history
They've been
together.
constants, bro. They're good friends. They're like childhood friends right here.
Yeah, which, that line, you could use that and say this line is just like, oh, they're old time friends, right? Like he's just like, come on, buddy. But at the same time, then that elevates it for me. It's like they've been friends for a long, long time. And it's not even uncommon historically for this kind of thing to happen where it's like, you have like an oppressive regime and then some dude like an officer is leaking out to like their friends or like their personal acquaintances that aren't preferred by the regime. And that's how we got a lot of leaks actually. um
Yeah.
so so this is kind of, oh man, I didn't
I love it, dude.
Kizaru.
I love it. I love it. Man, you know me. I've been a big fan of Kizaru turning coat, dude. And I feel
Yeah,
like this
yeah.
chapter, it really, I wouldn't say it solidified anything, right? Anything can still happen, but more people are opening up to the idea that Kizaru might betray the Navy to some extent, right? To help out his friends. And I love it. Because these guys are human. Like at the end of the day, all the admirals they're just people. They're just people that picked a wrong job. Or a job that they didn't think would come with this much corruption.
They didn't understand, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the
Like when
guise
people
of.
join the Marines in One Piece, yeah, sure, you got the bad apples like the Nezumis of the world, right? Like, oh, what fishmen can I steal from? What villages can I ruin? You get those people, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you do have people who believe in justice and believe in the greater good. And then when you get to a certain rank, you're like, oh, the world government's a thing. Ah, yes, celestial dragons. You end up in Garp's position where You don't exactly want to be fleet admiral because you don't want to work under him, but you don't want to quit the Navy because you're still helping people. Like, it's such a weird gray area that the Navy exists in. And I believe that at the end of the series, they're still going to be here. We just, albeit without the world government behind them. And I think Kizaru is definitely one of those characters where he just wants to get rid of pirates, right? He just wants to get rid of the bad guys. It shouldn't involve this much politics. It sucks. It sucks.
I'm almost questioning that too, because it's like Akainu's that. You know what I mean? Like, would it make sense for Oda to make like because Kuzan?
I say Akainu's good. Like, Akainu is rude to the Gorosei. He does not respect those guys, right? He's ignoring the Celestial Dragons when he's up in Marie Joie. Like, yeah, Akainu's following their orders at the end of the day, but he doesn't exactly like them.
I was more meaning like the pirate side, like the personal goal, right? Because like Akainu is stomaching the world government because they're in the power, but at the end of the day, he sees the virtue of the getting rid of the pirates and like this system may not be perfect, but without the system, it'd be crazier, right? And he like there's a understanding of like, to a certain extent, some people can't imagine a different version of the world that is better, especially if it's the one that you grew up in, or if you grew up in one that's way worse, right? Like that's a very real situation. And that applies to all levels of life. But with that, right, like that makes sense. And Kuzan, we don't know yet. Like we saw when he was going up the ranks, he just wanted, it was almost like a meritocracy. Like for Kuzan, he just wanted to get like rank, he wanted to get recognition, almost like I'd almost say like he was well, not narcissistic, but like he was doing it to get recognized for his power, maybe even to get recognized to be equal to Akainu, even though he's not the same at all. But we don't know, right, what he's going for. And clearly he doesn't hate pirates like Akainu does. So if Kizaru's goal is just like, not goal, but like main goal is like, oh, I don't like pirates, that's why I'm here, right? I don't know if that fully makes sense, especially if we put into things like, you don't just like cozy up to Vegapunk like from early on randomly. You know what I mean? I feel like that's intentional. I feel like even
it's an acquired taste.
And maybe it's because like this guy who went from Mads and then is, we don't know if Kizaru was do we know if he was an admiral when he showed up to pick up Sentomaru in that flashback?
I don't believe he is.
Okay.
We never got like the official like title of like, oh, Kizaru is a captain here. He's a vice admiral here. But Kizaru was wearing the same clothes he was when he was a vice admiral during Fisher Tiger's flashback. Mm-hmm. So I would assume that he wasn't an admiral at that point.
Gotcha. So
I can say that with almost full certainty.
Yeah. And so like the reason I'm bringing that up is because that pinpoint of like anybody could have been assigned to Vegapunk, right? Like I feel like it's a significant thing that the one person in the entire Navy of everybody we know, it was Kizaru that was with Vegapunk for this long. And yes, there's like the story, the narrative tied together. But I think like because Oda made it that like he didn't need to make it that far back. He could have made it like, oh, he was assigned to him like after the Punk Hazard thing. It could have been that surface level. But no, he made it like, no, we walked up, we adopted Sentomaru together, right? We're eating pizza, we're dancing together, Like those things, it kind of maybe makes me think that like not the sword agenda or like Kizaru's sword or things like that, but like there's a weird like, I don't even know, because he's like, he says he's gonna kill Vegapunk, and that's like the confusing part, right?
That makes sense to me though. That makes so much sense to me.
Really? Like,
yeah, hear me out. If you were Vegapunk, right? You already cosplayed as Shaka once during like an anime convention. You're halfway there. But hear me out.
That was the first.
If me and you have known each other for all these years, and then one day an order comes down, hey, Par,
not the Quartzark thing.
He's a little bit crazy, right? Like, we got to put Par down. I would volunteer myself to be the one who does it, because it's either I do it or you die to like some random Marine. It's like, no, like it's my best friend. I want to be the one who pulls the trigger. It's one of those things. And plus, Kizaru's kind of like a mafia boss, right? He's dressed up like a mafia guy. The movie, the name is based on Borsalino, is a mafia movie. Like it's all in the family.
Okay, no, okay, so that I can understand. Okay, I can wrap my head around him doing the deed, him wanting to be the person, right? I can wrap my head
Yeah,
around that.
putting your
Uh,
own dog down.
I yeah. Uh, but like I feel like because of the conversation I was leading into, it's like if his goal isn't exactly what we equate to the Navy, and it's not like perfectly aligned with the world government, and it's not a Kuzan, right? He's not like he's not rebelling. Then where does he fall? And if there was like a compass as to like what direction it would make sense to like parallel him with, it would be Vegapunk. So then if it were Vegapunk, then in the mafia sense, right, there's also the people that when they're brothers or they do a certain level of um the camaraderie, right? Then they have to they hide in secrecy. There's secrets that they keep. They don't follow through with all the orders, and they hold that to their grave. Like there's so much of that side too, and which is why like the mafia was very disjointed, and we had to make like the RICO charge stuff because there's so many factions, so many people making different groups inside, different allegiances and alliances and things like that. It's not a monolith, right? And so like even we're not even applying that fully here with the mafia analogy, but what we can apply is like, yeah, um if they were together for like 20 plus years, and like yes, I get he would be the one to kill him, did they not create any of their goals together? Like they talked about the ship of dreams, right?
Yeah.
And then like what's it called, what the wait, was the robot Vega Force 1 was the ship of dreams, right? Am I misremembering that?
Yes.
Yeah, and then Kizaru just point blank destroyed it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
he feels bad though, right? Like he's like, ah, dang.
does he? And
Yeah,
that's
you can't tell me Kizaru doesn't feel bad about destroying the Ship of Dreams, the Vega Force 1. Because you literally get a panel of Kizaru like looking the other way. You see the little lines on his head. He's squinting his face a little bit.
so then my question would be, right?
Yeah.
And this would be a very like mafia thing, you know, like you had the gun pointed to him, and then he's about to pull the trigger. That's his order, but then he just looks the other way and he's like, "Don't let me see you round these parts again." You know what I mean? Like, what is that line for him? If it's not Vegapunk, it's not the Ship of Dreams that they were talking about. Like, it is
I
it
think it is
Sentimaru?
Vegapunk. No, I think it is Vegapunk.
So he's not going to kill Vegapunk, or he is going to.
No, I don't think he's gonna kill Vegapunk here. I
Okay.
think he came in with full intentions of killing Vegapunk, but I don't
Okay.
think he's gonna pull the trigger at the end of the day. Like we're not there yet, like right?
Fair. Okay.
We're
You're right.
literally not
You're
at
fair.
the point where Kizaru is like, Vegapunk's on his knees. Kizaru has like the gun to his head. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, and then there is that small tidbit of when he did shoot at Vegapunk. Like if Luffy didn't intervene, he would have hit him, but
Yeah, but
Luffy
we don't know what's going through
glowed.
Kizaru's mind in those like moments where he's about to shoot Vegapunk. What if he's like, "Oh, Luffy, please stop me," or like, what if he's like, "Oh, like if I aim it this way, Luffy's gonna get in the way," just kind of
But
block
also,
that attack. Like we don't
do
really know what's going through his mind quite yet. He could be
you
hesitant. He could be
remember
wavering a little bit.
that theory thing that because remember when Luffy did intervene, he started glowing. It wasn't like burn, it wasn't a pain, he didn't get cut. He started glowing. So I was like,
Yeah,
maybe that light beam wasn't like a death
maybe it wasn't a
ray.
killing blow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
it's like
but it was
Kuma-esque ability, right? He hits him with the light wave, and then all of a sudden he's teleported to Mario Kart Rainbow Road, and he's flying
okay.
away to the next island.
Yeah. Let's.
Hey, no,
Yeah,
hey, believable is believable.
no, I'm still with you. I was just wondering. I knew one crazy reference is coming. Rainbow Road wasn't the one I was thinking.
No, but like
uh,
it's just how it is. I think Kizaru, while he wants, if he given the chance, right,
yeah.
he would probably kill Vegapunk, but he would hesitate a lot. Like he would question himself like at least 10, 20 times before he does it. And will he end up killing Vegapunk in the end? Who knows? Who knows?
Do you feel like, because you said that he wouldn't pull the trigger when it comes down to it, right? Maybe we got inklings that he didn't pull the trigger, or he was trying to, like the same thing with Sentamaru, right? Like he when in Saturn told him to deal with him. He's like, he did give pushback. Enough pushback where even like Saturn was a little bit frustrated depending on the translation, right? He's like, oh man, like so complicated, you know, like if it were, and now we know that when he rolled up the island, it's like, damn, if it were just up to him, you just like steamroll everybody, right? If like
Yeah,
at least
Saturn would have just ignored Sentomaru, ignored the laser dome. He would just go up and kill Vegapunk. Kizaru kind of stalled it out. He's like, well, you know, Sentomaru, I can't exactly ignore him. So yeah,
yeah.
like Kizaru has already shown that he doesn't exactly want to kill everyone. Like he wants
And
to stall out a little bit. You know, he doesn't want to pull that trigger just yet.
so the two questions. The
What's
first
up?
one is the hypothetical. The second one is something that we might actually see. First one is, do you think that like, yeah, maybe they were aligned, like Kizaru and Vegapunk, they were aligned up at one point, but
Yeah.
like Kizaru believes in like I guess the question is, does Kizaru know about like ancient history poneglyph stuff? Because he has shown about like a little bit of the Nika stuff, and maybe it's from Saturn, maybe Saturn told him. But also, if he's been working with Vegapunk for that long, it would be crazy to me that he didn't know about the poneglyph stuff. You know what I mean? And then the side note to that is, do you think, if even if yes or no to that, but then the second part to that part is like the ancient research, is Kizaru indoctrinated like the same way Akainu is, where Akainu is like kill all the Oharans, right? Do you think Kizaru is the same way? And that's where he's like, Vegapunk, I can't support this anymore. Do you think that's like in his mind, or that's not relevant to him?
I that's a hard one. So like you're asking whether or not Kizaru would think that they should kill the Oharans and whether or not the Void Sentry is a good thing.
Yeah, essentially, right? Like
Yeah.
all the dreams, all the aspirations, all the mafia work that they did together, right? All the backdoor deals, whatever, right? And then it's like his line, right? Like they had the moral compass, and Kizaru, grew distant from Vegapunk, and then he comes back, and his homie is dealing with the devil now, right? According to his bosses. Do you think that like Kizaru actually believes in that, or do you think that he knows about like Poneglyph stuff and it's not that serious to him?
I think he knows about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kizaru's even a little bit curious. Of course, this is like
Mm,
getting into headcanon now. Like, we don't really
yeah.
know. But if I had to guess, I'd say Kizaru would be on the same boat as Vegapunk. Like, I
Okay.
wouldn't be surprised if Kizaru knew that Vegapunk was researching the poneglyphs in the first place.
I Because of something you were saying, I look at something in a different light now. Remember when what's his face? Kizaru was on the ground after like Luffy, and he's like disappointed in himself. He's like, I can't move anymore. I can't do anything. Is that is I know is people are don't hurt me, guys. Was he acting for Saturn, or another understanding would be, was he truly sad and disappointed because if he properly handled everything, then Saturn wouldn't have come to the island? And the nuance of that is, now that Saturn's here, yeah, Sentomaru would be dead. Vegapunk would be dead. Whereas if Kizaru was able to handle everything on his own, he could do his own thing, right? But Saturn had to show up, and now either I'm looking at it two ways. Either he's like super disappointed in himself because now Saturn's here, and like all of his people are dead and he doesn't know what to do, or the other side is that he's acting like he's worried,
Yeah.
and he's in which way do you go with this, or if
That's
there's a
a
third?
that's a mixed bag. I think Kizaru's definitely playing it up. I don't think he's exactly losing sleep when it comes to him being on the ground after Luffy's hit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure he was going all out against Luffy and they were actually
Yeah.
fighting. I don't think he held back.
Hmm.
But I also believe that Kizaru laying on the ground, yeah, like maybe he could have gotten up, but he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna let this play out for a little bit. I'm just gonna chill.
Yeah. Yeah. So like like then you're kind of saying
Like, he's not like
you're.
rushing to get back up, like, oh, I gotta kill Vegapunk quick, you know?
But what was his line? Wasn't his line kind of crazy? What chapter was that? Do you remember? Was that like 1095? Probably.
Could have been where he just where he just got knocked out, or when he couldn't get up.
When it was like he was on the ground and he had his hand to his face or something.
1095.
1095. All right. I just want to see what he said, because I feel like what he said was kind of important. Well, obviously what he said is important, but because I'm
Even what
leaning.
Saturn says is kind of important now too, because he said it's unprecedented for you to be so slow in executing an order like this, Kizaru.
Yeah.
So
And
now I
yeah,
kind of look at that, like maybe Saturn knows that Kizaru could have done it a little bit quicker, right? Like Kizaru could have been a little bit better here, but maybe he threw the fighter. Maybe Kizaru doesn't want to get back up just yet. He's chilling.
you're using
Kizaru with the hand on the face. Maybe he's not in pain. Well, yeah, he's in pain from Luffy hitting him. But what if he's also like hiding the tears like Kuma in this chapter? You don't really know with Kizaru because he's an interesting man.
Kizaru on the ground, face thing. He says, "I'm sorry!" Exclamation point! Exclamation point! I failed you. Which even that is like, whoa, like
That's a silly one, yeah.
I don't think I'll be mobile anytime soon. Which is like, I don't know how much I believe that. But then Saturn goes, I think I
Isn't
can
it such an
understand
interesting world we live in where people are losing a lot of faith in the official scans?
I mean, hey, I'm not saying I'm losing faith in them. I've always been multiple translations is better than one translation.
Yeah, multiple translations is better than just one.
Yeah. If there's 5, great.
Especially
If
when it's
there's 6,
Japanese where it can be inferred in multiple different ways.
yeah, like I literally last
Japanese specifically.
A few chapters I ran through a Japanese professor, so it's like and they disagree with some other people's translations, and that's the thing. Nobody can ever really say what Oda's thinking, and Oda does puns, so sometimes it's like, hey, are you saying A or B? What if he means both because he's being punny? And like,
Japanese changes with context. I don't think people understand that because sometimes people are like, "Oh, you just don't want to accept the truth." The minute it's not your agenda, of course it's not the correct translation. It's like, no. If you know any other language besides English and stuff, like you'll realize that when you translate things, sometimes it does get a little bit dicey. Some languages change based on context and the time of day, even. Like, that's how it is. Japanese is just one of those languages.
Even crazier than that, Sai. Even the words on the page could be lying to you. Like Drake, or not Drake, Hawkins, right? Like, my man came through and it's like, I was the 1% man. And if you were ragging on someone for like taking his word verbatim and all of his stats and all of his voodoo stuff, right? Then you would be wrong in the end for believing it. And that's the thing. It's like Oda plays around with everything. And like, we don't even have to talk about the Bonnie stuff, but like apparently it got lost in translations after all these years. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. Because apparently it said estimated based on appearance. I like vaguely remember that, but I just remember estimated, and I was like, okay, cool, whatever. We're moving on. But like
I just love that somehow people always for some reason always bring back like translations and like how people interpret the story as agendas. I think it's so weird. They're just like, oh, like Kizaru, you're telling me he might have been holding back here? No, you just love the Admirals. It's like, well, yeah, but at the same time, like it's a fact. Like Kizaru doesn't want to be here. He's mentioned it like 10, 50 times how he doesn't want to do this.
I'm reading this and I'm kind of like, is he just acting? Like, is he just working this up? And like, Saturn apparently bought it. He's like, afterwards, he's like, I think I can understand why, and he lets it slide. So then Kizaru gets a pass, and I don't think I'll be mobile anytime soon. That line to me is wild, considering like I don't even think he needs to move in order to move because he's light, right? Like I don't know. Yes, he fought Gear 5, but like he fought him for like what, 20, like maybe 10 minutes. I doubt if Akainu and Kuzan can terraform an island for like 14 days and keep up their stamina. I doubt Kizaru is like that winded, that quickly. You know what I mean? Like, I get it is Gear 5, but also we saw like I don't know. It's like then I have to reference like Kaido panels, and it's
I will agree. I think Kizaru is reeling. I think he is actually in pain, but I just don't think he's in a hurry to get up though.
Yeah. I feel like these
like he
lines
actually did get knocked down. Like I think Gear 5th Luffy did really tax this man, but
yeah, I could see that, but like this dialogue, right? This dialogue of like, I'm sorry I failed you, right? And we talk about earlier how like We don't necessarily know his allegiance to the world government, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like how tied in. It's like, I'm sorry I failed you is like, and the way it's written out that I'm looking at it, it seems a little like over the top, like showing off. Same thing as like the corporate slave thing. I'm just a corporate slave. Meanwhile, the boss is right there. And remember when we talked about that, it's like, honestly, if Jeff Bezos was behind me and I worked at Amazon, I'd be like, I'm a proud worker of Amazon. I would not stir the pot, right? And it's like, if Kizaru knows anything about the Gorosei and that there's like demon spider dude, right? Like, yeah, I'm not trying to mess with a yokai. And like here it is, like, I'm sorry I failed you. It's like, is this over the top? And is he showing to be like to come out later? Is he actually like fully tired, or is he like, I don't think I'll be mobile anytime soon? How truthful all that is. I think I'm with you on the boat that like I think he might braze, because on the stream, on the reaction stream, you said something, and I knew this, but I don't think a lot of people would agree with you, is that this is the arc that Kizaru leaves the Navy and he like betrays them and he leaves the world government. Like he relinquishes his admiral status. And like I feel like when you said the whole thing about Kizaru at the very beginning about like how the question that he told, like, you should have known that he was here. Now I'm thinking about it, like, yeah, this probably is the arc, right? Especially if Saturn kills Vegapunk, he might leave. He might leave. I'm with
Yeah. I
you.
mean, honestly, going past Vegapunk too, Kuma hasn't shown up yet. Like
Yeah.
when Kuma shows up here, like what is Kizaru gonna do? I mean, and plus, like, here's the thing: you have one of Kizaru's bosses, Saint Saturn, about to kill Vegapunk, his old friend, and then you
Mhm.
have Kuma showing up, and the dude's being melted by Sakazuki. Like his lava should still be like melting his face off, melting his leg off.
Right.
Like you got two of your bosses here beating down two of your good friends. Like, how would Kizaru feel about any of this?
Yeah.
Like he already doesn't like it. So you add that into the mix, and it's like, yeah, Kizaru, he might wouldn't be surprised if he's like, hey guys, like enough is enough. Like these are the homeboys. Like you gotta back off a little bit.
Yeah. That in this chapter, that dance hit different. I'm gonna
Yeah. Oh
say
yeah. By
that.
the way, we got to go with the chronological order of the chapter. I almost forgot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
kind of just went off.
It's
So
been a
yeah,
while.
yeah, it's been a while
Immature,
catching up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we have Kizaru, Kuma, and Vegapunk, right? They're all hanging around the Den Mushi. Kizaru's doing a moonwalk. I don't know why. He kind of looked like Django in that panel. And Saint Saturn lists 3 demands, right? The first one, hey, you gotta be Shishibukai. 2, you gotta become part robot. And 3, you gotta lose all of your free will. And I was
Yeah.
like, wait, Shishibukai? You're telling me
Mhm.
there's a Shishibukai that just got defeated by Ace? Kind of crazy. But Ace light
Crazy.
novels, man, they go nuts.
Oh, did you get to
Ace gets a
review
lot of
them
feats
after?
there. What's up?
After the stream, did you get the chance to look at it? Because that's something I actually wanted to do. Like, I feel like there's a spot where I would have put in the Warlord thing. Not like, obviously he didn't say
I
Warlord, he didn't say thing, but like,
No, I did
I
not
think,
look through the
mm,
light novels
I kind of
for
want
the
to go through.
Warlord. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think
yeah.
he got mentioned, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I don't think he got mentioned explicitly, but there, I feel like I remember there's like, huh, I wonder who that is. Like, I remember when I read it, I was like, I wonder who the he just fought. But that's also because I'm weird and I always ask random questions. But
Yeah, but
yeah.
we don't know who this Warlord is yet.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
there are a lot of theories floating around about this guy. Like maybe we've met him before. Maybe he's the man marked by flames. Just a bunch of theories about this guy. And where do you
Right.
fall? What do you think about him?
Um, on stream, you definitely, my immediate reaction when I was reacting was, how funny would it be if this is the guy marked by flames? Because it was the ace part, right? And it was like marked by flames. Everybody's been thinking like Sabo, like, oh, a kind, like, like some people relating to people who got hit by him or fire stuff. And
Yeah.
so ace naturally, it's like, oh, marked by flames, ace, perfect. Long time ago, boom, got it. This is before the time skip, great. And then you came on and you really, obviously I didn't get enough time to like really think about it, but like it fit, if so much of it fit really well. um and I guess the question would be like, there's a world There's a world where actually my man marked by flame, or actually my Akainu video, those two videos will actually be proven right by this, because it'd be like, okay, if the man marked by flames was the warlord, um, then where has he been? Like, was he always active? Like, he got defeated and they didn't capture him, because all the other times the warlords were taken to prison, right? So like, and that was the interesting part, because he got offered the warlord position, but like, did Ace turn him in? I guess we don't have to follow the story timeline of like Crocodile defeated prison,
I
right?
heard a crazy theory that
Doflamingo
the
prison.
warlord that Ace defeated was
Uh-huh.
actually Avala Pisano, just like somebody in
Oh,
Impel Down.
okay. In my that was the premise of my man marked by flames video, was the Impel Down angle, that I was saying that it was my I had a choice. I still believe in that choice, but the fallout of it, and I made a few shorts about it, because people were like, only 4 people escaped from Impel Down. I was like, that's incorrect. They're like, well, Blackbeard killed everybody in Impel Down. No, he did not. He literally went in and he went out. Went in with 4 people and he came out, or he went in, had a, a tournament in 4 cells. We know that because the winners are on his crew. But if you guys look at Impel Down, especially level 6, there's more than 4 cells. And in fact, Impel Down level 6 is the largest one. And in fact, San Juan Wolf fits there. If he can fit there, then that means this place is huge. And it's not just huge, they lost a whole other giant. Mortally was just made a whole in between floor, and he's a giant, and they lost him in Impel Down. That's how huge Impel Down is. Impel Down has so many people, and the major fallout of Marineford that basically made Sengoku resign. Like, the war was like here and there. We could talk semantics about what side helped what, Blackbeard, Whitebeard going down, all that stuff. But the main thing that stressed Sengoku was the report that all the level 6 prisoners were basically freed. And that actually goes into my bounty rush theory, because I think that in the time skip, the Marine side of things was a bounty rush. I have that theory out already. But all that being said, that would make sense that the warlord was sitting there. I actually brought this up before because I was talking about Wang Ji. I was saying that maybe Wang Ji was one of those people in Impel Down, and so when he escaped, he took over Hachinosu, and then that's why it lined up for Kobe, Law, and Blackbeard to all align, because Kobe would get the bounty, Blackbeard would get the island, and Law was trying to get all like the people and the slaves and or the prisoners, the hearts, so he could trade in for the warlord position. That's essentially the bounty rush theory, or that's a part of the bounty rush theory that I've already talked about. And there was another thing that you said about the warlord angle, the man marked by flames, the warlord thing. It fits all of the stuff that. Oh, Shiryu. Okay, so if he's from Impel Down too, the Shiryu side, right? That makes sense. Like, there's so many things that would make sense, that like the Blackbeard crew even knowing about him. Like, these guys were locked up for their entire lives, but then they come out and they know about the rumors of the man marked by flames. It's like, maybe it's because the man marked by flames was amongst them, right? Like, that's a very set in stone trope with like prison break movies. You know about the like when there's a prison break, and then like one guy becomes notorious, and then the other prisoner's like, oh man, that guy in prison, oh my god. Like, there's Golden Kamui that does it. I feel like all the American movies is like, the guy has a crazy name, and then the guy's like, oh my god, little Timmy got out of prison, little Timmy's crazy, little Timmy can
Yeah.
get into any vault, like anything. It's crazy, he's the one who broke us out, all that stuff. So
I'm not like the biggest fan of the
the Impel
theory that they
Downside.
were in Impel Down.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think that's a requirement. As far as the Shiryu angle goes, I really just liked it because it fit the criteria that
the world
they
government.
worked for the world government. Yeah,
Yeah,
because the Shishibukai do, and that was always weird to me too, because what Lafitte said and what Shiryu said kind of contradicted. Lafitte was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, they were in an all like jet black ship, right?"
mm-hmm.
And then Shiryu said, "Oh, by the way, they might have worked for the world government." Of course, they only know as much as we do. Like, we're kind of just throwing ideas out there.
Right.
Nothing's concrete with what they've said. But it was always weird to me because I'm like, wait, if they fit both of those criteria, it wouldn't make sense because the world government don't fly jet black ships, right? They have like their own, like it's a world government ship, it's a marine ship. You know what it is. You know what it looks like. It doesn't really change.
Yeah.
Unless you're Garp, who puts a giant dog in the front. That's like the one time where it's actually like noticeably changed. So them being a warlord makes sense because they can work for the world government, but they also have their own ship. Like Mihawk used to work for the world government, and he rode in a coffin.
Yeah.
And same with all the other warlords. It's like, now it's starting to make a lot more sense as to how this man marked by flames can hit both of those requirements.
Yeah, and actually, now that you say this, with the other warlords in context, obviously, like I definitely talked about like the rabbit hole where Mihawk is the man marked by flames, or like I didn't talk about this one out loud, but I won't talk about like there's something connected to Mihawk that could be interesting, but they all have this like what's it called Moria, for example, right? He was put where he was in like the Florian Triangle to filter out all the pirates. The pirates got lost in this fog. Like the fog wasn't his doing, but it was like attributed to him, right? Like Brooke was like, "Oh, this area, it always gets foggy." And it's like the Florian Triangle, yes, we know that, but like he's in there, so it's like his thing, and everyone gets lost in there and they end up into his thing in the shadows, and he was using it for his operations and all that, right? In a similar, even how Crocodile mentioned his Rainmaker ship, made a theory about that guy. Mihawk, Don Krieg, like got near his ship, boom, storm. Maybe it does make sense that he was a warlord, and that was his like his rumor, his legend, right? Like that, like you go near his ship, you sink. Like whirlpools show up if you go near his ship. Like that could be. Like, and if you think about the utility that the world government would use that for, it's like that's a great pirate to endorse, right? Like a dude we can't chase because whirlpools, but also if we endorse him and then all the other pirates try to fight him and they just get sucked into whirlpool, that's great for us, right?
Oh yeah.
So I think like even that, like that description for a warlord sounds kind of great. And we didn't really ever think about like, what about warlords before the current warlords? Because this is the first time we like even like talked about that option because of the chapter. So I feel like the way Oda put the breadcrumbs, there's a high likelihood that it's the man marked by flames. We talked about a few other things on stream. I'm forgetting them, but I think like I could believe it. I believe my theory first and foremost, but this is a solid one.
Yeah.
And I think it makes sense. It's like the most sane one at the moment, and it's the most sane one. And I want to perpetuate that because I need people to jump off a dragon ship. Like, he's not the man marked.
Yeah, I feel like out of all of the candidates we've had thus far, whether it be Saul, Dragon, there was another one that was like kind of popular too. But either way, I feel like this is the one theory about the man marked by flames that I can get behind it. Like, it's starting to makes more sense than the others.
Yeah.
Especially the dragon one. The dragon one just was kind of crazy in my opinion.
Yeah. And I explained to you my reason last time as to why, and like, it's just, I can't even like put that in a comment and someone reads that. They're just so ingrained into it. But it's like, if you guys still think Dragon's a man marked by flames, which there's people in the chat comments, it's fine. It's fine. No shade.
No
but
hard feelings.
To me, the biggest reason why, it's not even the slander, it's Robin. Like the timeline makes no sense for him to have acquired a red poneglyph and then for Robin to be with him during the time skip. But then also, even if you were to say like, oh, they weren't together, like he got the red poneglyph separate. It's like, yeah, but they knew that she could read them. Like, why would he get a red poneglyph? He knows what poneglyphs are. And why would he not have Robin read them? And then also, we know that Robin didn't see a red poneglyph because on Zoe, she said that was the first red poneglyph she's ever seen. So like none of the timeline makes sense at all with the Robin thing. And I've been saying that since the beginning. And people are just like, nah, but his ship is black. I'm like, his ship isn't even black, but the Oda just
he doesn't even have a black ship. Like, yes, it looks black because of the way it's shaded, but in real life, it's not jet black. And the sails, like, it's just, the colors don't match, you know?
Unless Oda trolled his digital art, but he does the colorings too.
Yeah, like, unless Oda trolled the digital artists and the company that he is working with that makes all the figures for the ships. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know what to tell you guys.
Yeah,
It's not Jet Black.
yeah, because Oda draws like colors all he does the colorings too. I have all his color books. He doesn't do all of the colorings from the manga and everything. He has the people do him, but like he sets the palettes. He does all that stuff. Like he does that. So it'd be crazy if he was just like retcon that. Like that'd be wild. Oh my god. That I would call that a retcon. If it turns out that and again, the other part of it too, I don't even know what faction of people want
Imagine we like do get retcon with that though. Like next time we see Dragon, like they actually shaded it in black instead of the brown that he's been doing for the past like 20 years. That would be hilarious.
I don't know what I would do with that. That would be a little problematic in my opinion.
I'd be a little bit salty about that one. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, just not because we'd be wrong, but just because it would be such a blatant retcon. Like then what else could be retcon too? Like imagine we get to the chapter and like by the way, Garp isn't actually Luffy's grandpa. Like that was never a thing. It's like damn, dude. All right.
Like retcons.
Shanks actually is he's not red haired Shanks. He actually has blue hair. By the way, we forgot to color that one in.
Yeah, like. So like to paint another picture too, like a lot of stories, especially not One Piece ones where they have like multiple decades of planning and writing, a lot of stories don't have that purview. They have deadlines and stuff. They can't build the world, right? And then so they make mistakes as they go on. That's like a known thing, and then they have to change it a little bit, or that's why they choose not to be as expansive at the start, because then they might have to retcon things. But in those situations, it's forgivable in my opinion. When I feel like oh, this is a retcon, I'm like, it's fine. It's like I understand why, you know. But this is very different because it was a setup like trivia thing, you know what I mean? Like he literally had multiple like, who's the man marked by flames? Oh, I wonder who it is, and drop clues. And if one of those clues or two of those clues hinges on a detail that could be eliminated in the process of elimination, and that was the retcon detail that would have led you to the right answer, then that feels bad. But the other part of it, I don't even know what faction of Dragon fans want Dragon to be the man marked by flames, because I don't think it'd be better for him to be the man marked by flames. I think it'd be worse. I think it'd be all around worse if he was the man marked. It'd be kind of funny. It would be like I just man, it'd just be like I get it. I get why people think he is, like all the clues kind of fit things, but all the clues can kind of fit Panda Man too. Like I could make those clues fit a lot of people, right?
The one clue that fits Dragon is just isn't it just like the whirlpool thing, because he has like wind related abilities? That's pretty much it.
Used to work with the world government. Garp's his dad, like that kind of thing. And then the whirlpool one, there's that, and then the mark by flames because of like the Japanese community broke down that like I think it was the first time that Oda said it was more vague, like the man marked by flames, but then the second time it was very odd, and it allowed it to be like any kind of mark, not just a burn scar, which is how we originally got it translated, I think. But we ran with it, but it was like man marked by flames. It's like flame tattoo, flame iron. Like
I wouldn't even say he has a flame tattoo either.
Yeah.
He just has like, people are like, yo, what about his fire tattoo? I'm like, he has a fire tattoo.
I would never.
Somebody said that, dude. Somebody said that. They're like, besides, Dragon has a fire tattoo. He's marked by flames. I'm like, oh shoot, like, do we know what Dragon looks like underneath his clothes? Like whoa, like, is this on his foot, his back? Like, what's going on here? And then they circled his face tattoo. I'm like, brother, stop. Like,
the viewers watching right now,
you mean like, the tribal markings that were once on his pants? Yeah, okay.
The ones that Nola has in Skypiea, which is the first video. I connected.
When somebody said that, I feel like I was being pranked a little bit, but they actually like believed it, and I was like, oh, I can't make fun of them. It's like. You can't make fun of people who. Okay, on to the next part.
No, I mean, I get it, right? Like, especially like the depth of it, right? If he's your only option, he's your only option. Like, I mean, if you're not reading more into it, that's fine. For me, it's like the people who have come up to me, also because I haven't been on the internet so much recently, at least. When I posted my man marked by flames, there's a lot of like passionate people like, you're wrong, it's Dragon, right? Versus if people just think it's Dragon, I'm like, yeah, cool, it's Dragon, we'll see, right? But then there's the people who come at you and it's like, How could you possibly think? And look at his face. There's a fire tattoo on his. I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, yeah.
We need
I
to go
feel
to a
like
tattoo artist right now. That is not a fire.
yeah, that's not fire, dude. Come on, come on.
Size an expert on tattoos, by the way. We discussed this on the 50/50.
I have a lot of tattoos.
Yeah. You guys may not see him.
Well over
with the
20.
AI, the VTuber thing that he always uses on channel. I always tell him to stop, just show his real face, but
Then it's
here
never
we
gonna
are.
happen.
What do you think about the Denden Mushi's beard?
I think the Denden Mushi looks like it's on the verge of death. Like it's about to cash in the 401k.
That something was up with this Denden Mushi, bro. Like, why does it also have spikes on its back? Is that a thing? Like, or is that like
Doesn't Saint Saturn have those spikes?
a Z?
Yeah, right?
I mean, now I
I'm like
believe you.
95% sure Saint Saturn has those spikes on the back of his head as well. Or not spikes, like his hair. I don't know what to call it, but he
Wait,
has like that hair, and that's what the spikes remind me of.
he has like the Jerry curls. He has like the
Yeah,
Jerry
is that what it's
curls, yeah.
called?
I believe that's what they're called,
Yeah,
right?
and the snail has it too. Like that's just how it is.
He has
But
like
of course, the snail doesn't have like the snail took some artistic liberties
not
with
Jerry
it.
curls. What is it called? The Washington fro. You know, like the
Washington fro. Yeah,
that's
he's like
how
a founding father.
yeah, like the founding fathers type
Yeah,
of like
he's
that.
about to build a nation, bro. Like I
He has
feel
like the
it.
curlers left in his hair. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah.
those, yeah. He's about to get his hair done and stuff. Like that's what we're seeing right now.
Honestly, if I was a Gorosei member, I'd be getting my hair done every week.
Yeah, but what
No,
what if
not
you're
like a girl, like like I'm going to prom, I'm getting my hair done, but like as a guy, like I'm getting a haircut. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna stay fresh. Like a
yeah,
celestial dragon, like you got nothing better to do. Like yeah, give me a nice haircut.
they
You nick
do
me, you're
all,
dead.
but they all have the same haircut.
And that's sad, right? Like where's the individuality? Like I mean, Garling has a different haircut. Like some of the Holy Knights probably do. Like Saint Saturn and the Gorosei do.
Okay, so but in Garling's case, right? Like sometimes different doesn't mean better, right? Like I don't know if going
Okay,
from
would you
whale
rather have a
tail,
whale haircut or would you rather have Garling's haircut? Honestly, I'd go with Garling. Like if I really had to pick, I wouldn't want a whale on my. I don't like whales, dude.
all right, fair. Okay,
Whales
you
are
know
kind of
what?
lame.
You know what? Fair.
And even if it's not a whale, it's a fishtail. And fishtails, like as an Asian guy, that's the type of stuff we eat. Like I don't want no dude chewing on my hair. It's as simple as that.
Agree that
Do you like fishtails?
Garling's. Do I like fishtail? I'm not a seafood person.
Oh. Not even
Yeah.
like a fried fishtail?
I mean, you know me, I always try something, but
Yeah.
doesn't mean I'll always go back, you know?
Damn.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, there's a lot of fashion stuff that could be desired from the Celestial Dragons. I don't know if like what this 800-year-old man should be slandered for his hair or his lack thereof, because we don't know if there's anything underneath. Has 8 legs and still uses a cane. There's lots of questions, you know what I mean?
What if the cane is all for style too? Because when I was a kid, I always wanted to have a cane. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but
Because that uncle with the prosthetic leg.
no. I just thought canes were cool as a kid, you know?
No, I agree with you. I thought canes
Like
were
I
cool.
used to go to CVS and like role play with the cane.
Yeah, no, my mom would always hit me
Yeah.
because she would be like, "Stop doing that," because it's kind of like, like if you make a face for too long, you'll get your face will get stuck, and that is like true to a certain extent. But my mom was like, "If you're like willing this, you're gonna need a cane in the future if you need it. You don't need a cane. Stop." Like she would also like gaslight me a little. No, I don't even know if gaslight is the right word, but like she'd also be like, "You're being disrespectful to people who actually need the cane." I was like, "What? How did this happen?" And I remember every time I got like, if I ever got like an injury in soccer, like time to whip out the cane, baby. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
dude. Like honestly, I think Saint Saturn's pretty cool. Like I like the design.
Yeah. I like
Yeah,
the
it's a good
Gorosei
design,
designs.
man.
I like.
I also like the stipulations in this agreement as well. I think Saint Saturn's just so goated.
beautiful segue.
You like that?
The agreements, right? Like, it's interesting because do we get it here or is it not here yet? Oh yeah, it's like I like when Kuma starts giving pushback. I like that. I like how this went down because it's essentially am I forgetting? Kuma speaks directly to Saint Saturn, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
does. Which is also
Imagine he doesn't
interesting.
though. That'd be kind of weird.
Well, it's interesting because he actually is the only warlord too that spoke directly to the Gorosei. When he went to Thriller Bark, he was speaking directly to the Gorosei, and I question, I forget which video it was. I was questioning. I was like, why does he have this like pull? Like, how does this happen? And then now it makes sense. It's like the checkered fate with the thing and the slave and the him and the Bonnie and the deal, and it all makes sense now. It all makes sense is what I'm saying. But imagine this, like do you think no Dragon definitely knows the Gorosei? Do you think Dragon tells no Kuma's knows Saturn, but does he know like what the Gorosei are? He probably does, right? Like Jinni and like being a slave, like you probably know, right? Or maybe not.
Know what?
Like what the Gorosei are as far as like power, their influence, like all
Oh
those things.
yeah,
Is it like super well known?
I would say so.
Yeah, because like the Marines know that's always been something. It's like they were like the hidden group, but then like the Kings know about them. Do like common day people know about them? Like if a Gorosei member walked out on Stelly, would he freak out? He
I
would
think he
freak out,
would.
right?
He'd
Yeah.
freak out, dude. Yeah, of course.
Do you think Kuma knows he's talking to the man he met at God Valley? Or does that is that said here? No, it wasn't said here,
No,
right? Yeah,
I
so
would
he
assume he knows. Like I feel like
well,
the man who knocks you down and the man you confront at God's Valley, like such a key figure, you wouldn't
it
really
isn't
forget that voice.
true the voice.
And plus, it's not like Saint Saturn aged up and you're like, oh, this voice is gruffly. No, like he's like the same Saint Saturn too.
True.
Maybe if he aged up and like he got older and he's like Kuma, like yeah, sure, yeah, Kuma doesn't recognize the voice anymore, but this is like the same dude, you know?
So then I have a completely different direction now because what I was gonna say is like imagine like just like you go into the doctor's office and
Yeah.
like you're trying to cure your daughter and then like the literal Illuminati comes in and like eavesdrop and now you have to like sell your soul to save your daughter. Like that's literally what's happening to Kuma, but it's not that like the Illuminati came out of nowhere. He knew about the Illuminati. He actually knows the guy that is the Illuminati, and like he may or may not have known originally like exactly the stance, but like to give pushback, like he gave pushback to these demands. And that's like, again, imagine you're at the doctor's office, you're asking for your daughter's life, you're selling your soul already. And then the Illuminati, and you're pushing back. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I feel like pushing back against the Illuminati is crazy. But now I'm thinking about it like, wait, no, like if Kuma does recognize this guy from God Valley, he's like, this old guy, I saved 500 people in front of this guy. This guy ain't shit. You know what I mean? Like maybe he's being disrespectful when he's pushing back on the
I don't
demands.
think so.
I don't think so
I
either,
don't
but
think he
like,
is.
do you, so the I don't know if I said the head canon, but oh no, it was on the Anime NYC stream. The Kuma showing up to Egghead, and I'd like it because like the head canon theories of like if Saturn is actually Bonnie's dad, right? Like if we just hold that true, right? And then Oda's a big fan of Star Wars. There's a situation where he holds up Bonnie's like, I am your father. And then Bonnie's like, huh? And then Kuma shows up like behind him is like, no, I'm your father. And then like this crazy sequence of events, right? Um, and like, I don't know. I guess I've just been questioning like, is can Kuma beat Saturn? Like, I don't know.
No.
I'm so torn.
I think it would be bad if Kuma beat Saturn in his
Yeah,
state.
yeah, in his state,
If
but like,
Kuma had help and if Kuma had his full consciousness, I'd be really open to Kuma beating Saturn because it would be really poetic. It'd be nice, the God Valley thing, the Bonnie deal. I would love it if Kuma beat Saturn, but I
yeah,
feel like with Kuma not having his consciousness, him beating Saturn won't exactly feel the same. So if Kuma does show up on Egghead Island, I'm more on the boat that Kuma will stall Saturn or he'll
yeah,
help everybody escape again.
yeah. I'm glad
And
because
maybe he does put up a good fight. He harms Saturn, and Saturn's like, the Buccaneers, like curse
yeah,
that race.
yeah,
That'd be
like he
really
gets
nice.
like here's an understanding that you could take from thing. Maybe he didn't want to like he hit Kuma in the flashback, but was it with the cane or like we don't know, right? Maybe like he doesn't. The reason why Kuma escaped is because Saturn didn't want to touch him. He's like, yeah, yuck, you know. That's why the guy shot Kuma's dad rather than like stabbing him.
Understandable.
Yeah, no, oh, well, okay, fair, okay, great take, but the I I I've been on the boat that the Gorosei, he's not gonna lose on Egghead, or like he's not gonna die, or he's really strong or whatever. I just, but I've been talking to so many people who believe otherwise, to the point that they believe one person could actually just solo him, and it not even being like a Yonko level character per se. And
Yeah.
I'm almost wondering, because like then people bring up like, well, Sabo escaped 5 Gorosei members and Emu, and so did Wapol. So if Kuma shows up, and they're not even saying this, but like I could tack this on, like, what if Kuma does get his memory bubbles, gets his thing? I feel like that Kuma would be competent enough to like outplay the what child version of him that outplayed Saturn. You know what I mean? Like I feel like even like an adult Kuma with his memories, one leg, is probably better than child Kuma who just got the pawpaw fruit, right? That I feel like that's a sane
But that's
take.
very different though. Like child Kuma just escaped Saturn. But
Right,
there's
with
also like a
500 people,
million different
with
players.
500 people.
But there's also like a bunch of different players there too. Like Roger
True.
was there, Rox was there, like Big Mom was in close vicinity. Kaido eventually goes
Right.
there and gets the fruit. Like there's so many factors in the Kuma Saturn situation in God's Valley that I can't say that Kuma, you know, he outwitted Saturn. You know, Kuma just pulled one from underneath him and he got away. Like I feel like there's just so much going on there
I agree
that it makes
with you.
sense that Kuma escapes.
I agree with you. The only way it would make sense to me, and it could be this case, is that right after we left that flashback, Rox and Rogers, just like their fight tumbled in between them. That like, because otherwise Saturn is literally is in like reachable distance to the man and the kid, and he let him go. And this is the Gorosei, right? Like again, it's like Shanks versus Kid, right? In no world, Shanks kid could be on another island. He's still there. Green Bull is on Wano, and Shanks is like, "Where you going?" You know what I mean? Like to have that kind of ridiculousness and pinpoint of like this is what I want done, and I'm gonna get it done. And the fact that like Kuma was there and he succeeded in what he needed to do. The fruits are gone, and Saturn was right there. He's not an island away. He's not ships away. He's right there. And like again, it's such a weird thing because I'm looking at all these characters on the panel. I'm just like, what is the real authority? Who is powerful in this room? Like, is it Kuma? Is it Kizaru? Is it Saturn? Kizaru is like, hey, Vegapunk, stop just saying all our dirty secrets in front of Saturn. Come on, he's just full of hot air. Like, I hate that I can't say for sure what's happening here. Because another take was like going back to the falling down and like the head Kizaru thing. I just thought, like, what if surely nobody has ever seen the Gorosei fight. So what if Kizaru is like, I want to see what he's made of. Like, can I take him? Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he doesn't know, right? That's a solid take, right? Because I'm wondering that, so maybe Kizaru's wondering that, and he's just like, you know what? Let's just sit this one out.
Yeah, maybe Kizaru's like, yo, like, how strong is this man? Like, what does my boss? What does he do? What does he bench?
Yeah, like, why do I follow him? Like, you know, maybe.
Yeah.
Man, I can't help it. And then we hit this page where Kuma makes me cry. It's crazy.
You cried? What a loser.
Yeah, bro.
I'm kidding. No, it's sad. I mean, for me, what really hit me, like I was holding out, you know, I was Iron Will Sai over here. I didn't cry one
Kizaru.
bit. And then I what?
And then you saw Kizaru.
No, and then I saw Alpha, and I was like, wow, that's a busty lady. Drop some tears. No. Well, what got me was the very end of the chapter where we see the Kuma ship and the Jolly Roger.
Oh yeah.
That one, I was like, oh god, no.
Nah.
That one hit.
Oda's a menace for that too. There's no reason for
Yeah.
him to be called Kuma the Tyrant, and that's his flag. I might redact. I made a short memory talk of Don Creek's flag being the most terrifying. No, now Kuma's is like, imagine Kuma.
Yeah, Kuma's is crazy, bro.
Yeah, that's
Kuma
crazy.
had the Bonnie drawing of him. Oh man, yeah, that one was great. I loved it.
That was good.
What's next chronologically in the chapter? Like, what else happens? He says he'll take the deal. Yeah, he's like, oh, anything for my daughter. And oh yeah, the montage, the
The
montage of
montage.
Egghead Island.
Yeah. We did we like in the stream we talked a lot about this in between here, like how Bonnie escapes, the timeline. We talked a lot about that.
Yeah.
To the point it's like not that it's uninteresting to talk about it, it was just kind of getting on the same page. But one thing that I was gonna no, actually no. I don't know if I even brought it up, but it was just like I wish like Saturn used like a magic circle to sign this like contract. I wish like those magic circles weren't
Oh,
just
that'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
yeah, like now that they're introduced, I want them to be like and we're getting more of his character. We're seeing the past. I wish we saw him like use it more and in a way that like oh my god, like this is how it can be used. Like I wonder
Just
what
like
else it could be used
it's like
for.
one of those like demon animes where they're like, oh, like a binding vow, right? Like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
binding demon contract.
He's
Yeah.
literally a yokai. He's literally has like magic circles. Like I don't know what else. Like I feel like when you think of magic circles and like and contracts and like they're like hand in hand. It's like right there. So it's like like when they summoned Brook or whatever, they were like, "Oh, we need to feed him," or like there was like they offered something and then they got something back. It's literally a contract. They sacrificed something and they were trying to summon Satan and they got Brook, right? And it's like
Yeah.
that's the bread and butter. And that was like the one thing I was like, you're telling me you're like. In order to facilitate this deal, you can't see your daughter for the life. And I'm like, wait, can't you do something crazier than that? Can't you like actually enforce this? Like I feel like there has to be a way that like the highest powers could like actually directly, because we've never seen them to be directly involved in anything. And if they are going to be directly involved, I wish like the first
You
time they
wanted
were
something crazy, huh?
right, the first time they're directly involved, Buster Call, right? Like or ancient weapons that can delete islands. Like that's when we saw the Gorosei. And now it's like he's just doing the same shit that normal people can do. It's like, you better listen to my deal, Kuma. If I see you around your daughter, because that's a sane thing to do, you know what happened? And then he sends the like Alpha, whatever, to get it. Oh
Yeah.
my
She's
god.
cool.
Yeah, she's cool, but also it's very I think it's very what's it called? When something is like we can see how it plays out. I forget how to say it. Like cuz you basically were like, "Oh yeah, she probably just escapes as dowager. Alpha just gets like memed on. That's why she never showed up. She's the loser
Yeah.
daughter of the family, all that stuff, right? Like
Okay, now
it
now
kind
you're
of
going too crazy. Calling her loser daughter. Come on, come on.
I mean,
She's cool. She's
I mean,
cool.
Khalifa's in CP9 and she's in CP8,
But
and
this is a
they're
flashback though.
yeah, but they're Cipher Pole royalty. If she's not in CP9 by our time, then
Maybe she's CP9 current day. Like
that's
post time skip, she's
grosser.
CP9.
That's a little grosser.
I
That's a
mean, yeah,
little
for us, right? For Luffy the sun god, yeah, Zoro the king of hell. Yeah, it's lame, but
no.
but for like an East Blue pirate, like fresh in the new world. Oh, dude, this kind of crazy.
I mean, hold on. Khalifa went from CP9 to CP0 after getting hunted down and fired and came back in 2 years. And you're telling me after what? Oh yeah, wait, this is still same timeline, like 3 years, right? She can't go
Yeah,
from CP8 to CP.
I
Fine,
see.
we'll
It's
give it to
fair.
her.
It's fair. It's fair.
Fine. Do you think she'll show up? Do you think we'll see Alpha and I want to call them Alpha and Kalpha.
Alpha and Kalpha. I don't think we will. I feel like this is more of just like a nod, like, hey, there's like hidden SBS lore, right? Like maybe we go to the next SBS. Somebody's like, hey, Oda, who's this girl? Is she related to Khalifa? And he's like, yes, she is. And we'll
Yeah.
be like, whoa, that's dope. All right, moving on.
Yeah. The other reason why I kind
Just
of
one of
like
those
her
things. I like it though.
not
It's
out
cool.
of the picture, but it would be fun if she were because
Yeah.
another realm of possibility. I know Bonnie's fruit is not the clone fruit, but if she can copy Queen Dowager, surely she can copy Alpha if she tried. And so there
That's a
could be
rough one.
I mean, we saw her go into Hulk mode where she basically looks like a buccaneer,
But
right?
that's the thing. That's still Bonnie though.
Yeah, but Dowager's not Bonnie. We know that.
But here's the thing that yeah, Dowager's not Bonnie, but I feel like that's just like a gag, right? Like they just happen to look the same. I don't think Bonnie can actually transform to other people.
Who knows? The reason why I was saying that is because like if there was a world, right, and I agree with you, canonically it's not there yet. But if there was a world that she did that, that could explain so much about how, like, if you were a cipher pole eight, like you could masquerade as a cipher pole agent. That'd be kind of crazy, right?
That would be
Um,
crazy, yeah.
yeah, like that would be so useful. And ooh, hold on, thing. Sorry.
Very good.
Um, um, it like to me, I feel like there's so many powers in One Piece that end up connecting, and you can get the same effect from a different fruit, right? Like for example, the rot fruit with Bonnie's fruit. Bonnie did Shinobu's power on the lever of the door, and it's like all these fruits. Like there's inferior, superior, but then there's also the realm of like some fruits can just do what other fruits do, and if like. And Oda's been doing this crazy thing with the like, oh, like in a good timeline, Luffy looks like, or in a good timeline, Zoro kind of looks like Rayleigh, and in a bad timeline he looks like this, and in a good timeline Ace looks like Shanks, in a bad timeline he looks a little bit more like Roger. And he's been doing that thing where you don't necessarily like, it's not like Zoro's related to Rayleigh. That'd be a crazy plot twist, but it's not like he's related to Rayleigh, and yet he makes his future timeline look like it in a good timeline. So I feel like Oda's playing with this thing. It's like you could be in any timeline depending on how your life goes. You could end up looking like a certain person even if you end up following that person's footsteps, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's like that concept is real to life a little bit, but like maybe Bonnie has that ability. Maybe Bonnie can do something like that. Maybe that's how that muscle mode comes in because she was with Kuma, and then with the Queen Dowager, we know she had to practice that one. She was trying to get her, not just age herself up to look like her. That was the specific thing. So it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Obviously, it's not that important, but like if Alpha were to show up again, I feel like there's a world where like Bonnie shows out her power a little bit more too. It'd be cool though. It'd be cool if we see Bonnie in that light. I hope we do.
Yeah,
Secret
you never
agent.
know. But
It'd be
I'm
dope for
not
the Revs.
I think it'd be I think it makes sense if like maybe a different timeline Bonnie would look kind of like her, but I don't think that's possible. Gotta stop the shape shifting at some point.
From this, do you think Bonnie becomes a Rev?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Replace the
I
Ginny.
think she follows Ginny and Kuma's footsteps. I think she becomes a Rev. And that's another reason why I think Dragon might show up here on Egghead Island.
Interesting.
I'm still on that boat. I'm going down with the ship, right? Just like, yeah, I think Dragon has a good chance of showing up here on Egghead Island. I mean, the main reason why people didn't like it at first is because of the timeline of like, oh, chapter 1100, Dragon's gonna show up here. And I was kind of there too. I'll admit I was a little bit silly, but once we got chapter 1099, I was like, yeah, him showing up is pretty impossible. We're still in the flashback. It's not gonna happen.
How old was Sabo when Dragon got him?
I have no idea.
Was he like 12? Nah, that's too old, right?
Yeah, it's too old.
Okay. I was gonna say it'd be crazy if Koala and Sabo were both 12 and Dragon like got them, and then Bonnie's 12 now to follow the suit, and he just picks up all these 12-year-olds.
Yeah, Dragons. He just collects the 12-year-olds like their Pokemon cards.
Yeah, Pokemon cards.
But yeah, no, I feel like if Dragon shows up here, if Dragon has his last stand with Kuma, sees Kuma go out, I think it'd be great because he could just take Vegapunk and he can take Bonnie, so we don't have to be left with them.
Yeah. So then another question with the Bonnie stuff, and this relates to the montage thing, right? Because we talked about this, and I'm curious what you think now. When Vegapunk talks about like, I can create my weapons of dreams, someone needs to write everything I'm thinking down, blah blah blah, and breaks down all the things. There's like this weird, like, some of the females look like a version of Bonnie, right? To the point where like, if you ask me, could Bonnie transform herself into one of them? Yeah, I think so. That's how like similar. But then also you could say like all One Piece girls, but like it's kind of different. Like to the point where when we got Ginny, I think a lot of people either were like, oh, this is 100% Bonnie's mom, or I was like, oh, this looks like Atlas, and it feels like similar like vibe thing and whatever, right? Um, like, do you think that Bonnie is related to satellites in some way, and are you still in the same boat that Logic is the missing satellite? You still
Yeah.
think that? Yeah.
Yeah, so based
Mm,
on all the dialogue here, what or not Kizaru, what Vegapunk says, like I can create weapons, someone needs to write stuff down, brain won't stop. If only I could eat and poop. I'm short-handed, it's maddening, Eureka. I
yeah.
feel like he's referencing all of the satellites except for Shaka. I'm still on
Mm.
that boat.
So I had a thought because we've been talking about dragon memeing, right? We were talking
Yeah.
about Kizaru in an interesting way earlier. Like Vegapunk's doing this dumbass thing, and then Kizaru hits him with the logic of like, "Yo, you're in a government facility. Don't do this dumb shit, right?" Is there a world where Kizaru is inside the Shaka thing? Like that's Kizaru? Given how close they are, wouldn't it make sense that Kizaru would be one of the clones?
I mean, he
And like,
could be. I mean, it could literally be anybody that's close to Vegapunk, right? People are saying it could look like Dragon. It could look like a younger Vegapunk himself, Kizaru. Like,
I
it's
think it's
not.
Kizaru. I
It's
think
not
it's Kizaru
crazy.
now. Especially
Yeah.
because when he rolls up to Egghead with Saturn, he hits him with all this logic. Like, oh, logically, this is how it should go down, right? Every single time, it's like the logic, logic, logic. It'd be crazy if Kizaru was the somehow like either clone or like this entire time Kizaru was just Shaka. And then when it got shot, he like got it's like shadow clone jutsu from Naruto, you know? Where he
Yeah.
gets the memories. That'd be interesting. I just thought of that when I saw this montage. And I was like, Logic, Kizaru, it's fitting.
So
Yeah.
we have everybody eating pizza. We got like the
Uh-huh.
Sun God Nika dancing. It's
Yeah.
really cool. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. And I guess it just goes to show that Kizaru is indeed close to all of them. And it's also interesting too, because now I'm just like, I wonder if Kuma spilled the beans about Sun God Nika and described what Nika's about and who he is. Because Kuma
Yeah.
loves that, right? Like he didn't hold back against Bonnie. Clap didn't really hold back. Like they love spreading the good word of Nika, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you with like the whole uh this is probably where he did like this could be the Nika thing that oh yeah, when Kizaru sees Luffy, he might have like thought of Kuma, like that could
Yeah.
be the description and all that stuff like and Saturn may not have even known that that's a thing that Kizaru knows, right? Um
And plus the music too, because what's it called? You see the music playing in the background here, and the
mm,
music's playing in the background when Luffy first shows up in Gear 5th against Kizaru. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think Kizaru does know, like, hey, wait, is Luffy's the sun god that he's been talking about, my good friend? Maybe
Yeah.
even Kizaru knows that Luffy is supposed to be a liberator, and maybe there's a part
Mm,
of Kizaru where it's like, wait, maybe he can help us out of this. I think
yeah.
Kizaru's gonna become a believer, man.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Yeah.
join the Church of Luffy, not as like a straw hat. I see people throwing the straw hat idea out. I don't think he's gonna be
No.
like a straw hat, but an ally, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna help Luffy so Luffy can help my friends. More of a situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Kuzan at this point isn't like running up on the Straw Hats immediately, right? Like
Yeah,
he already did that, and it wouldn't go well the second time or this time. But also his last conversation with like Robin, right? Like he's not doing that. It's closure, and I think Kizaru is like Kizaru would probably after this arc especially be in a similar boat. From a different direction, but then we get this context. In my opinion, no pun intended, but this page it has a very One Piece a vibe in this page and the dancing and the pizza, just the one pizza that they're sharing. Very great, piece of thing that Oda did here. And it's weird because like you said, like I feel like Oda is making it very blatant that Kizaru is going to join the other side. But like how and why and what capacity? Because now it's like if he likes Kuma like to a certain extent, right? In the same way of like Vegapunk, and Kuma's out here preaching the word of Nika, all this stuff. This is the Lord and Savior, right? Right? Like you have that one friend that's like knocks on your door. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, whatever, right? And then Jesus Christ shows up. What do you do? You know what I mean? Because that's what Kizaru's boat is right now. Like literally, like Kuma's Jesus came to life and is here, and Kizaru's fighting him, and he lost to Jesus, like Kuma's Jesus. And I'm trying to think about that, right? Like all these years, my friend's like, you know, if you were Kuma and you were telling me about this, oh man, Nika's great, this dance, this thing, and you're trying to convert me, right? And like, hey, yeah, cool. You know, we stay optimistically, no, or not optimistically, just like, uh, uh, not willfully, acceptingly distant. I don't even know what the term would be, but just aside from it. And then, yeah, Jesus Christ shows up. Like, I feel like that would be, I would be like, all right, buddy, I'm on your team now. You know what I mean? Like after all these years, you've been talking about this guy, and he's here, right in the flesh. You know, like I think, like, hey, listen, like I'm not a religious person, but if Jesus Christ was here and he could prove it, I could see myself becoming a believer, right? Right, and I wouldn't put it past Kizaru. I feel like Sai, you'd be the same way, right? If Jesus Christ showed up, you'd think a little bit differently, right?
Maybe. Maybe.
Not the maybe. Not
Yeah.
the maybe.
I,
What
I, I
would
need I need to see a miracle first. I mean, you know what I
Yeah, we
mean?
we actually talked about this on the 50/50. Now I think about it. We talked about what if a literal god showed up? What would we need to happen? And our bar was really high up there. But like on the flip side, it's like you said, the sound is there, the dance, the laughter, like the rumors, right? It's all there. It's like this is everything that Kuma said, and then it happens, and he's like, oh shit. I guess he's been right this entire time. Um, damn. You know what? You know what? Not a straw hat, but maybe the last contribution, because maybe Vegapunk doesn't make it, Kuma doesn't make it, maybe even Sentomaru doesn't make it, but Kizaru is gonna do the dance with the straw hats. That's is gonna be his most straw hat like behavior. Does that make him a straw hat? Maybe, but not in like the full, not on the boat. You know what I mean?
Doing the dance with the straw hats. I like that. I feel like they're all gonna do the dance by the end of the series. I think it's too soon for Kizaru to do it with the straw hats.
Damn, timelining the dance theory is crazy. I wasn't
Yeah, because I feel like having the Marines dance with the straw hats is like an end game thing.
true,
Like I
true.
think that's like the finale, right?
But isn't the point? But what weren't you saying? He like leaves. He's not part of them, and so that I was thinking like in that context, right? Like
Well, yeah, but like, why would they dance right? Like, oh, hey, we escaped. Time to dance, guys. Time to throw
they
a party.
always dance. They literally fight a war, and the next day
But
they're.
here's the thing. I don't think Kizaru's gonna leave with the straw hats though,
I don't
and
think he's
have a
gonna
chance to
leave with
dance
them.
with them.
I don't think he's gonna leave with them, but it might be like a Fujitora situation, but flipped, where it's like he's just gonna sit
Why
there.
would he start dancing while sitting and watching them
Why does
leave?
anybody dance? You know what I
Because
mean?
they're
Like
having a party.
yeah, well, you know, maybe they survive. Maybe that's the party. They won against the if the context is they make it out of this okay, they won against the Gorosei to some extent. That's worth eating over a little bit and partying.
I don't see them being super jolly after leaving this island.
That's
Like
fair. That's fair.
even like if they stall Saturn, you know, we have Kizaru here, we have Kuma, Dragon, you know, Kuma's dying. I don't think Kizaru's gonna be like, woo, but Vegapunk made it out, you know, time to throw some dance moves out. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think this is gonna be like a holly jolly situation at this very moment where I
I
feel like
think it
that's gonna
might
be
be.
safe for
Want to know
later
why?
once like everything's over. Because
You
Kizaru,
want
like, he's gonna lose his job. He lost his friends. You know, they just narrowly escaped. You know, I don't think Kizaru's gonna be like, yeah, it's time to bust a move, brother.
Yeah,
Like
but I
it's
also
it's
feel
that time.
there's a world where he does do it with the Straw Hats. He does quit the Marines this arc, whatever, all that stuff, right? That was the hypothetical. He quits the Marines, right? He leaves, which I think you think is highly probable or is a good scenario at the minimum. I think there's a world where he does do it, and the reason why is because your boy Lucci will see it. Because he Lucci was waiting out for Kizaru to like do all this stuff, and we were great. We were talking about like Lucci might end up being like also on the other side of the aisle too. And then if the guy that he was waiting for this entire bust a move with the straw hats, then like Lucci's entire world view is just like, wait, huh? You know what I mean? I feel like Kizaru dancing could be the thing that shocks the world. Like, and I'm not saying that that's in the headline, but I'm saying that like that notion is powerful. And I don't know who needs to see it, but maybe there's a few characters that need to see it.
I don't
Um,
think they need to see the dance. I think the shocking event is Kizaru. It revolves around Kizaru leaving or Kizaru being, losing that admiral position because of this. But I don't think he's going to bust a move. The last part of the chapter, man, we got Kuma receiving some orders from the world government. And he just so happens to be in the East Blue.
yeah.
And now here's where it gets weird. Like, what is Kuma doing here in Fuchsia Village? Why the East Blue? What are the orders? Do the orders even have to do with the East Blue? Is it something else? I don't know. I feel like it has to, just because it's just like a plot convenience, right? Like, I feel like it'd be kind of odd if the orders had nothing to do with the East Blue or Luffy.
Um,
Like,
yeah.
maybe not Luffy specifically, but I feel like it's definitely in the East Blue. Because if it wasn't, then next chapter would start with Kuma immediately leaving, which would be a little bit strange.
So that's why I was thinking it could be outside of it. Like Kuma was so like Kuma
Yeah.
coming here. You said the important part because people think that like Kuma came here because of the mission. No, that's not what happened here. Kuma's already there and then received the mission, and then they ask where his location is, and now the start of next chapter will confirm or deny where he goes like, the East Blue nearby Fuchsia Village. And then they can do, that's perfect. That's exactly where we needed you to be. Just like every fictional plot convenience thing, like you're saying, or it could be like another, like it could be like, there's something we need you to take care of, right? And for Kuma, that's not a big
Yeah.
deal. He could be anywhere, whenever. So like, the only reason why I think that the there's two trains of thoughts. There's two trains of thoughts here. Um, the current location thing is odd, right? Because given that Kuma could be anywhere, they don't need to ask him what his current location is. They just give him an order, he'll be there. They know that should be a thing, right? Like he went to Thriller Bark, he just can do that. That's his power. So them asking what is your current location, that was interesting to me because I was like, that's not really that necessary for like this mission. Because then they just tell him the mission location, he goes. So then the plot convenience thing was the natural thing. It's like, oh, they're gonna say like, oh, we actually need you there, right? But then I was thinking like this timeline actually kind of lines up when Bonnie is escaping. And so if Bonnie escapes now and they lose track of her, then they would call him and be like, yo, where are you? Because if they find out that he's with Bonnie, they would have to verify that. Like they would also need him to like, hey, we need to make sure Bonnie's not with you. Did you break your deal or whatever, right? So because this is right before Luffy leaves, and that would be around the time when Bonnie escapes. And it could be that Bonnie escaped and they were asking for his location. And so he finds out about like Bonnie escaping and that worries him, or I don't know what that would do for him. I don't know what fallout would come from that kind of messaging, whether Kuma just continues to do what he is doing, not worried. Because at the end of the day, it'd be kind of relieving that they lost his like no hostage negotiator tells you that their hostage is lost. You know what I mean? That's not a good thing for the hostage, like the person who's holding the people hostage, right? That's kind of a better thing for the people who's wants their loved ones back, kind of, not always, sort of, right? Maybe in the One Piece world a little bit different, but I can see it that like he was coming here for his own agenda and then he leaves quickly and then we move past this because at the end of the day, I think we agreed it's like it doesn't really matter if Luffy did see him, but it could be that Luffy didn't really see him and Kuma just wants to see Luffy because he at this point, if he's going to East Blue and he's going to Fuchsia Village, it makes no sense unless there's something else there but there isn't. So he's going there for Luffy. And so it makes sense that he knows that he's the dragon's son. He found that out somehow. Maybe from Vegapunk, maybe. I don't know. And so yeah, I don't know what the mission would be, and I don't know what he's here for because Luffy clearly didn't remember him unless Oda wants to retcon that. And then The biggest contribution I can think of is, wasn't it when Luffy was a kid, he was wearing like that t-shirt with a bear with a wing? Like that could be like Kuma gave him a t-shirt, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he gave him a Bible too. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not really sure. Where are you on that on Dosai?
I think Kuma will spy on Luffy. I feel like
Fine.
that's what might happen here. Just like
Yeah.
see what Luffy's all about. I feel like the orders
That's
won't.
what he did on Thriller Bark too.
Yeah, I feel like the orders won't necessarily be about. That's a hard one. I feel like it has to do with Luffy.
Hmm.
I feel like they maybe heard a rumor of some kid that stretches and they wanted to check it out. But I don't think it's gonna be anything crazy like, oh, like go kill Luffy or anything like that. I think it's just a reconnaissance kind of thing, which would be
Yeah,
nice because it would make the world government seem more competent too.
I don't think I as much as I want that, I just don't think that like he was on their radar. The only pathway possibly is the whole like Shanks, who's who, that thing. But if that were the case, then why now? This is so much later. This is literally like, this is what 7 years after the fact, right? Like Shanks stole it already. They punished who's who. What who's who is holding out that information that long? No, he would have just told them like, yo, Shanks attacked us. That's the best excuse. A literal Yonko robbed my ass, right? Like then they still imprisoned him.
Yeah,
So like that time, some people brought up the Shanks thing, and I don't know. It just feels weird if now they're like, oh, Shanks had his headquarters here, and he just left, and he's the one who stole this very important fruit. The Gomu, I mean, the Nika, I mean, the Gomu Gomu. Ah, did I say Nika? Like they do that, and then he comes here, and he's like, ah, perfect. I've confirmed it's been eaten. Like I don't know. He just doesn't say anything, and the other part of it is Garp. Garp is like frequently comes over here, right? Like it, I doubt that that's all under the radar completely. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. And he was hiding Ace here, so like the world government knowing of this place and not knowing of this place. I don't know. It's all weird. I just think that like, what is your current location? Okay, I'm here, and then they tell him come back here immediately so we can watch you, so that we know that you're not with Bonnie, right?
yeah,
Because if they know that the last place Bonnie was on Sorbet, and he goes, I'm in the East Blue. Well, East and South is kind of far, but then like they need him to come back to him because he has the power. If he finds out that Bonnie's escaped somehow, then he could go to her. He could find her faster than they could. I'd bet on it almost that he'd be able to
yeah.
find her faster than they could.
Oh, 100%.
And yeah, so I think that, what is your current location? The order is to come back like here. We need you to
My
do some
my
testing or
problem with
whatever.
that is that if the orders are like, hey, come back, Kuma, we need you at Sorbet or the South Blue or something, we need to talk to you. The main issue I have with that is that it would leave this Fuchsia Village plotline unsolved. Like we won't ever know like why he came here unless he comes back later, right? Maybe he teleports back and forth and that's good and
Oh,
jolly, but
no. I think he does what you said. I agree. I think he just
okay.
watches. Like on Thriller Bark, he was just standing on top of everyone, just
Okay,
watching
so
everything
so
go
so you
down.
think he gets the orders, he comes here anyways and then he goes?
Yeah, I think like
Oh,
because
okay.
he's
Yeah,
right
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there, right? He's right there. I think the problem though is the watching. Was that his intention the entire time, or is that because he just doesn't have time anymore to do anything? Like maybe he wanted to talk to Luffy, maybe he wanted to talk to the people in the village, right? Like he's a very nice guy who just helps people out. We have an entire montage of him helping people out and talking to people, right?
Yeah.
So like maybe he wanted to do all that, but then because of this call, he just sits still and just watches, which is again the first when we got introduced is like Thriller Bark. Well, we saw him before, but Thriller Bark, he's literally talking to the Gorosei and just watching the Straw Hats. That was the entire thing until Moria lost. But before that, he was just there. Like he was there the entire time. Like he zapped Perona out, and then where was he? A ghost, right? Nobody saw him, but he was there. And so at the end of the day, I think that that's what he does, and then he leaves, and it's not anywhere close to Bonnie or whatever. They send him somewhere else, and they like, oh, we needed you here, blah blah. So that like if she's in the South Blue, all right, you have to go to the North Blue right now, right? Like you have to do that, and we have a lengthy filler mission for you to do or something, or they actually lock him down because he's a warlord and he's subservient to them, right? I think
Yeah.
that I think the the main reason I think that though is the what's your current location. It's just
Yeah.
because specifically because of Kuma and his powers and stuff like that. It's just an odd thing to me, and maybe I'm nitpicking. Maybe it is something related to Luffy, but I almost feel like what you said, like, oh, like even if it was a loose plot line, right? Like Kuma could do something here, and then it could be like Luffy remembers it later on, and it's not the favorite thing, but like Zoro did that. Zoro just remembered his entire childhood versus King. It's like, oh shit, that old guy, that was important, wasn't it? And then it's like, the
So
same
Luffy's
thing.
gonna just be like, wait, I've met Kuma a long, long time ago, way before Sabaody and Thriller Bark.
Yeah, like maybe back then Kuma like found out that he was Nika already. Like I don't even
Oh
know.
yeah,
Like
that's where I'm at. I think Kuma finds out that Luffy's Nika by spying on him.
yeah, or does some kind of like cuz his hand is the hand of God or some shit. The hand of liberation, right? So what
Yeah.
happens with the hand of liberation meets the warrior of liberation, right? I don't know.
Hmm. All
Something
right.
good, something yummy.
I think. Okay. So here's a good one though. Last question.
Okay.
How many chapters do you think we have left of this flashback? I think next week's gonna be it. I think it has to end next week. I think it's over.
Um so we can do the math real quick a little bit.
Yeah.
So Luffy hasn't set sailed yet, right?
No.
So how far until he sets sails? About like a yearish probably, or like less than a year? It's around that. It's before he sets sails. It's like within a year he sets sails, right? So is there anything crazy in between then and Luffy setting sail that is worth noting? Because if yes, then we'll probably get it in the Kuma flashback. Whereas uh the Kuma stuff during when Luffy's a pirate, we covered most of that, so we can breeze by all that stuff. Like I would imagine that part is catching us up to like similar to why the Straw Hat separation stuff, right? He just popped island, popped island, popped island. So similar thing, right? We get a before Thriller Bark, after Thriller Bark, right? What Kuma was doing before Thriller Bark, he got the mission to the Straw Hats, boom. Then after he sent the Straw Hats, he lied. We don't know what context because they don't know what happened to the Straw Hats, right? Like he just disobeyed and Kizaru like received that information on Sabaody. But end of the day, so we'll probably get a before Thriller Bark, after Thriller Bark. We'll probably get a reaction of like when Kuma and Doflamingo went to the Gorosei, or the not the Gorosei, the meeting room. I think at that time it was just Kuma, Mihawk, and Doflamingo. We'll probably get that.
Yeah.
Get that conversation. That will be a very interesting conversation because that's the same one where Blackbeard was proposed as a warlord. And then we'll get Marineford, Sabaody, and Marineford, because between Sabaody and Marineford is when he lost his will. And then the last part will be Bonnie here reliving the part where the last thing that Kuma did was to protect the Thousand Sunny. So that might be a significant thing for Bonnie too, and I can see that now this context. And so if we're to jam pack all of it, I don't think there's a crazy note to end on other than the moment that Kuma gives up his will, which would probably be the end of the chapter, which would mean the next chapter starts with it. So it technically would end in 2 chapters, but the beginning of the next one would be the conversation of the decision of like the Kuma stuff, the last wish that he wants to do, like the everything he did after sending the Straw Hats out. It could be a whole chapter, it could be like 4 pages maybe, but I think that's a solid thing. Unless, and this would be wrong, unless like Oda inserts something crazy in before Luffy joined or Luffy starts pirating. But I don't think he would insert something crazy after Luffy starts pirating, because I would imagine all the stuff that we saw of Kuma. Yeah, he could have done other things, but I doubt Oda would flesh out that story, and risk like affecting the world that he already built unless he had it pre-planned, which I don't know. I don't know about all that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
I like
But
it.
yeah, sort of same page, sort of next chapter. So that means 1102 would be the big day for Kuma.
I think
Do you think Kuma comes
l-
first or Dragon?
Kuma.
Kuma. All right, cool.
I think if I were to put it in order of events, Kuma, Dragon, and Sabo, and then Morgan's at the very end.
Kuma, Dragon, Dragon, and Sabo.
Yeah.
No Ivankov.
No Ivankov, no.
Okay. I'd almost want
Because
just Dragon. But yeah, Sabo coming makes sense.
the reason why I throw Sabo in there is because Luffy would be in trouble. And since Luffy's in the news barricading, I feel like Sabo would want to come. Because Sabo said, like, hey, if my brother ever needs me, I'm going to be there ASAP. Like, Revs be damned, essentially. So
Yeah.
I think Sabo would want to come here pretty adamantly. Ivankov, the reason I don't throw Ivankov in there is because we last saw Ivankov reading the newspaper at Kamabaka Queendom. They're not reading the newspaper, but like being affected by the waves.
Oh.
And I think that's Oda like kind of pulling one over our eyes, because when we last saw Ivankov at Kamabaka, Sabo and Dragon were there, but during the earthquake, we don't see Sabo or Dragon there anymore, right? We don't get their reactions. And you would imagine that if we were seeing the Rev's perspective on the outcome of La Lucia, we'd see Dragon and Sabo. We didn't. I think they've already left. They're on their way. So yeah, I think Kuma shows up first, then Dragon and Sabo. And the reason I bring Sabo along too isn't just because like the brother thing, but I think he fits perfectly in with stalling Lucci, because he did that in Film Gold. So if Zoro doesn't wrap up his fight with Lucci, if Lucci's still up and running, I feel like Sabo would be a great candidate to like get rid of Lucci. I think that's a beautiful way to like throw him in there. And
if
then
Sabo comes, Smoker comes too, though, because he also stalemated Smoker there too, right? To run it back Ace Smoker.
I don't think Smoker would be here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But this Film Gold, it was Lucci and Smoker. I think it was like after Lucci, then it was Smoker, or Smoker, then it was Lucci. I forget which way.
Film Gold, no. Smoker was not in Film
Oh
Gold.
no, I'm thinking Stampede. And Stampede.
Yeah, you're thinking Stampede.
Yeah. I was like, wait, Lucci was in Stampede, but then you said Gold, right?
Yeah. Because in Film Gold, that's what they did. Which, I mean, it kind of works because Film Gold had the whole like slavery thing. It had like pretty much the genie backstory in Film Gold too, so it kind of works out.
So no Blackbeard. You're strong on that. That Blackbeard took the refugees and peaced out.
Yes, I think Blackbeard took the refugees and peaced out, and it wasn't Blackbeard. It was just Luffy and Devon.
See, that I asked you that because that is a huge. It's so hard to talk to people about like post Egghead, and then they're like, "Wait, what about Blackbeard?" Because like we're so set on the whole like Oda showed us his ship right after the refugee ship, and I'm with you. I think he just took it's like the opposite of Ohara, and he has them, and this is the reason why like the whole no survivor things is important. But like at the same time, like it's not that like killing them and not killing them is a thing. It's like you have to protective custody is also an option too. So like you don't give them to your adversary, which would be Blackbeard in this scenario. And so I'm there, and so people are like, wait, you don't think Blackbeard's there? I'm like, but real quick, like he's probably not gonna be here. And they're like, really? But all the Blackbeard stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, we're thinking about Egghead so differently. And I think like as much as we like debated about like a whole headline and picture thing, that's like, I mean, that's like we do that all the time on the 50/50 with like random shit. But at the end of the day, that's us like going over like literal pixels on the manga thing and not really like the outcome. We more or less agree on like the outcome of like what's happening on Egghead, and even when we disagree, it's like I could see that, right? But like the Blackbeard one, when people bring up Blackbeard, are you like when people bring up Blackbeard, are you like, can you in your head do you think like I could see that, or do you think like nah, it's not gonna
like
happen?
Blackbeard being here,
like having a role at the end of Egghead?
Having a role at the end of Egghead, no.
Other than the one of taking refugees, right? So when someone says that, you're just like,
well, I mean, I don't mind the idea, but Blackbeard himself here at Egghead would be kind of strange. Just because like we already have so much going on. Throwing Blackbeard in there, like what would he accomplish? Why would he be here? Because there's not he could want Saturn's devil fruit, I guess, if it is a devil fruit.
And that would imply that he knew that Saturn.
Yeah, that would imply that he knows that Saturn's here, that all this is going on. A full day has passed, so technically Van Auger could teleport him over, right? The fight with Law is over. He could make his way over here. It's the closest island. But I feel like I would rather put stocks in Dragon traveling across the world in a day than Blackbeard traveling to Egghead Island.
Damn. Damn, that's crazy because I feel like there's a lot of people who'd be like, Dragon. Some people actually came in. I think some super chat said that Dragon cannot come here because he's so
It's too
far
far.
away. Yeah, and then I said like I think that Dragon's just one of those characters. I just feel
I
like
mean, we have
Dragon.
Shanks who could like
Wow.
teleport from one side of the world to another. We have Kaido who can fly. Dragon, who we know has wind powers. It's like him being as fast as wind or him flying. I wouldn't
Like
put it past him. I mean, and even if he
at,
can't fly, just blowing wind on the sail would increase the speed a ridiculous amount.
at this point, people said the mythical Zoan thing, and I at this point, mythical Zoan flying squirrel. Give it to him. Give my man, and he just glides in like a
Yeah, he's
fucking
like, I'm
squirrel.
one with the wind.
Yeah, yeah, that's why. I'm for that. If he makes it to Egghead and that's how, fine, cool. Best devil fruit in the entire series. Awesome. Because it took Saturn and Kizaru like months for us and like they were the last ones there, and that's crazy to me. But yeah, the Blackbeard one, it's interesting. I agree with you too. It's like Blackbeard, and then people would respond with like, "But Marineford was crazy. There were already so many people." But Blackbeard instigated all of Marineford. He didn't instigate Egghead. Period. Like Egghead, like even Shanks is like trying to figure out what Blackbeard is doing. Shanks is like, "Damn, I thought he'd be going to Wano," and then he didn't. And then like Shanks is trying to run course with Blackbeard. So wherever Shanks was going with his like after Elbaf, I almost think that's more important to figure out what where Blackbeard would be because we know he literally has like a federal agent with like records on everybody with the quick that's Kid, the loser from South Blue. Here's his entire life
Yeah,
story,
here's the
Shanks.
Carfax for that
Right?
kid.
Yeah, and then in face to face with him is like, but first let me give you the drop on Blackbeard, right? So I almost feel like Shanks and Blackbeard will run course sooner than Blackbeard and Egghead. And yeah, I think like Blackbeard seeing Luffy, Nika, Kizaru, like I just feel like that's too much of like end stage powers in one place because it's light, it's Sun God, and then it's the black hole dude, and then it's a Gorosei guy, right? Like we don't need all that in one spot. And that like I don't even know, like you said, like what is he doesn't know about the nuclear power plant. He knows about the Seraphims, but he had the opportunity to steal one and he didn't. So, like I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. He could
Yeah.
go back to Pirate Island and deal with Garp because if we're thinking about problems, leaving a Garp on a some people think he's dead, but like he's probably alive, guys. Like leaving a Garp on my island is terrifying thought. If I'm Blackbeard, I would make it home to make sure that we got everything, covered. I wouldn't just leave a Garp that existence with just like a few of my crewmates, even if it's Kuzan. Sure, I can trust Kuzan, but it's a Garp. You know what I mean? It's still like the Garp alone is just like at that point, like Garp could like punch, like they have the prisons underground. He could punch through the ground and swim out. Like I don't even know what he would do, and he'd do it laughing, and that would be terrifying. Like, man. Yeah, I don't think Blackbeard's gonna show up.
I don't believe that propaganda.
Yeah, that would be wild.
And I just feel like it would be a nice, like you said, tie into Ohara. Like just showing that, yeah, like killing the survivors, like Akainu looked pretty bad there, but it's justifiable because maybe Blackbeard gets that crazy information because of the survivors. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, like in the panel where they're all doing the Sun God Nika dance, the researchers are doing it. They're in the background.
True.
You could see their little shadows, and they're all dancing, man. Like if Kuma was hanging out there, if they were helping Vegapunk research, like they know the scoop. But yeah, with that being said, we're gonna call it here. What's up?
I have a funny thing. Do you think Kuma's Bible tells you like the song and dance?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, even if it doesn't, I feel like he could have added it in,
Because like our religious texts, like all of them have a similar thing where these songs and these hymns and these tunes and these dances were all religious and sacred and whatever. We don't practice all of them or most of them or any of them, honestly, but It'd be interesting if he's handing out the Bible and it's like an instruction book on how to support Nika.
How to
Like,
dance 101.
yeah, like we've been worried about Morgans. Meanwhile, Kuma, the entire backstory, the reason why he went to all these places because he's passing by a little Bible. You know how like in all hotel rooms there's like a Bible in the drawer?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what Kuma did that. That was Kuma.
Yeah, Kuma, the goat over here,
Yeah.
just putting dancing instructions in there.
I'm gonna start putting One Piece chapters in hotel drawers now.
Yeah.
The first chapter.
They're just gonna be so confused, like volume 1 of One Piece. What the heck is this?
Yeah, right next to the Bible. That'd be crazy.
All right, hey, thank you, Par, for joining us again. This is the first official episode of the Parcast,
Yep.
as we call it.
Reunionized on the world changing chapter of chapter 1100, the chapter that had many expectations and they were met
Hey,
with
next
3
chapter is
dots.
gonna be crazy though.
Yeah, maybe we'll
I
get
feel
4
it.
dots instead of 3 this time.
Yeah, Dragon's gonna show out. Just watch. I believe.
Yeah,
I
we'll get an
believe.
exclamation point.
But hey, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you guys later.
Peace
Peace out.